Good evening. Tonight we are not here to shout, we are not here to threaten, and we are certainly not here to execute anyone, figuratively or otherwise, because that distinction matters now more than ever. Across this country, people have taken to the streets in grief and anger after the killing of Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old mother of three. They marched, they chanted, they held signs, they demanded answers. This is what peaceful protest looks like. Unarmed citizens, using voices instead of weapons, witnesses instead of executioners, pressure instead of fear. And then, into that space came a man with a megaphone, not calling for reform, not calling for justice, but declaring, open, quote, "The storm is here. No one can stop what's coming. We executed one of you yesterday." Close quote. That is not protest. That is terror rhetoric. Peaceful protest says this must stop. That man said it has already happened. And that difference is everything, because one seeks accountability, the other seeks permission. Now, listen carefully to what followed. When the state was asked to respond, not to the rhetoric but to the death itself, we were told something chilling. The Vice President of the United States said the killing of Renee Good was a tragedy of her own making. Let that settle. A citizen is dead. And power's response is not sorrow, not restraint, not responsibility. It is blame. This is where the mask truly comes off. Because imagine, just imagine, if the roles were reversed. If Charlie Kirk had been killed during a confrontation with the state, and someone in power stood at a podium and said, open quote, "It was a tragedy of his own making," close quote. There would be outrage, and rightly so. There would be wall-to-wall coverage. There would be speeches about political violence, about dignity, about the sanctity of life. No one would say, well, he shouldn't have been there. No one would say he brought it on himself. And they would be correct, because no one deserves to be executed by the state. Not by ideology, not by affiliation, not by accusation. Yet when the dead woman is not one of theirs, the language changes. Then it's unfortunate, then it's justified, then it's inevitable. This is not justice, this is tribal absolution. It is the belief that our lives are sacred and yours are conditional. And that belief is the most dangerous weapon of all. The man with the megaphone said, "We executed one of you yesterday." Power responded, "She did it to herself." Different mouths, same message. And still, the people protesting are the ones accused of being dangerous. Let me be perfectly clear. Peaceful protest is not weakness. It is not compliance. It is not submission. It is discipline. It is the refusal to become what you are resisting. History has proven this again and again. Empires are not undone by mobs. They are undone by legitimacy loss. Gandhi did not defeat the British Empire with bullets. The civil rights movement did not end Jim Crow with executions. Authoritarian power collapses when it can no longer claim moral authority. That is why rhetoric like "no one can stop what's coming" is so revealing. Because it betrays fear. Fear that the people might still believe in law. Fear that cameras, courts, and conscience are more powerful than force. Fear that restraint is stronger than rage. So what should the people do? Not retaliate, not escalate, not give the state the chaos it quietly hopes for. What the people must do is remember every word spoken, document every excuse offered, refuse every attempt to normalize death as deserved. Ask, over and over, if her death was her fault, whose fault is the next one? If execution can be joked about, when does it become policy? If justice only applies to our side, what happens when sides change? Withdraw your consent from lies. Withdraw your silence from threats. Withdraw your obedience from narratives that ask you to accept the unacceptable. Because when a society starts deciding who deserves to die, it has already lost its soul. And when the people accept that logic, they are not safe. They are next. Good night. And remember, masks fade, but the echo of a free voice endures.